I get you because I lost my mom 2013.
Oh, sure.
And living through that time up to now, as you're saying, when big things happen, that's when you wish that person is there.
Yeah.
But now, I want to, from your perspective, I want to learn now how you embrace those big moments without this person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's a job to be done. So first of all, there's a job to be done. It has to be executed. You ask yourself, okay, if he was here, he would have wanted me to do the very best that I can, and you get it done. Because sometimes you can't hide from the weight of responsibility. Last year, no, I think that was 2020. 2003. I think it was last year. Actually, my sister was getting married, and there was a conversation within the family. So who's going to walk her down the aisle? Of course, I've got uncles, but it was eventually decided that I do it together with my mom. That was a role that my daddy was supposed to play.
Yes.
I struggled with it. Quite a great deal. I've written about it on Facebook about how I was weeping the whole time, and but then you realize that okay, there's a job to be done. Admittedly, you need to walk your sister down the aisle. It's a big day. You don't want to mess it up with your tears. So you kind of learn over time to say, okay, I've made peace with the fact that I lost my old man. It doesn't mean that because sometimes I feel like people think that dealing with grief is denying the potency of its pain. Okay, for me, that's not how you deal with grief. You don't have to deny that it's painful. Okay, it actually begins from acknowledging that it's a painful experience, that you feel it, you still, because other people will be like, no, in our language, you'll be like, but the reality of the matter is, I'm missing this person,
You have to accept that reality.
Yes.
Yeah.
So for me, it starts from there, that I am possibly never going to get over this loss, and but I don't think that the person who is gone would want my life to necessarily stop.
Yeah.
All right. I think they would want me to succeed, whatever assignment that I have to be executed perfectly.
Yes.
So you summon that courage and then try to get the job done. But yeah, it's not easy. It's
Yeah, thank you for that. I just like the part where you're saying you just have to accept the reality of that pain and not really necessarily try to forget it.
No, you can't. You can't forget it, because in any event, that's not a choice that you can choose to just I'm going to forget this thing. So you really don't have the option of forgetting, but you also can't deny or ignore, pretend that it's not there. Because that's how some other people deal with grief. They would just want. They're in denial. You don't have to be in denial. The person is gone. Okay? You need to confront the fact that when you go home, you sit at the dining table, there's going to be an empty chair. Yeah. All right? If this person was your spouse, not that I have any idea what it means to lose a spouse, but I'm just imagining that, and I've heard people say this, that, it's not easy. You go into the bedroom and, the things that they left are still there, You've got all these personal effects are still there. Sometimes you can even, still inhale their perfume, whatever, So, but you can't pretend that all of those things are not there. You just have to, I think, deal with it. Yeah.
Face life as
it is.
Let's go fast forward. Poesi. How was Poesi like?
Poesi was amazing. So obviously, it was the first time I'd been away from home and been in a boarding school. I found it to be a little rough, I must admit. And maybe that's what happens when you've a boys' school only. But a couple of friends who quickly, because by that time we had moved to Area 18, and they once they learned that that was my new hood, they kind of embraced me and said, okay, no, we're also from Area 18. A couple of guys who were really amazing, like my friend, Chisomo Mafulirwa, took me in quite early. And then, of course, the quality of education and the manner of its delivery was quite profound and quite on point. So I knew that if I had determined that I wanted to take my studies seriously, of course, one of my well, it wasn't, I don't think he taught me, but I think he saw me and he just liked me and then called me aside, asked me a few questions about myself, and told me, if you want to go to the uni, you're at the right place. Just make sure you don't fall into wrong groups. And,
that was a teacher?
He was a teacher, and I just took his advice to heart. So I isolated myself from in a kind of rowdy crowds, picked my my gang carefully, did my studies, But I think it was an amazing experience. I loved every second of it. What
was the transition for the grades? I remember the F from standard 8.
Yes.
How did it go now in secondary school?
So, in secondary school, I continued to struggle. In JC, I barely got out of my exam. I think I got a D. I didn't fail, but I got a D.
Yeah.
And when I went to Form 3, just barely pass on 50s. That would be my best grade. But when I went to Pwezi Boys, we had Mr. Kapenda. He was the headmaster, and also our mathematics teacher. We used to call him General because of his approach to leading the school was very harsh. I mean, very. He was a strict disciplinarian, and I guess that's the only way you're going to manage an institution full of boys, adolescent boys for that matter, right? But he was so good at the way he taught the subject, and I just hung to every word that came out of his mouth. And by the end of our secondary school mathematics, I got a 1, so that was quite it was a turnaround from getting an F at, standard 8, which was, 4 years before I sat for my final exams in secondary school, getting a distinction. Yeah, it was actually, I think I got a couple of 2s as well, but I think that was the only 1 that I had.
It was mathematics.
Mathematics, yeah. And I remember sitting for, I think we had 2 papers, and I remember sitting in the examination room and, finishing ahead of time and just putting the paper down, satisfied that I'd gotten everything correct. The other paper, I think there was one question where I struggled a little, but again, everything else, I was quite satisfied that I'd gotten it correct. So, yeah, I mean, I owe my distinction to General Kapenda. He was quite amazing.